So, hello everyone. I loved the Pauletti accent. Everyone in Brazil spell my name wrong. So, let's start here. I hope everyone has a great lunch. And São Paulo is a great city for food. And given mostly of you are from a different city, I hope everyone enjoyed. So my name is Ivan, and I'm a user experience designer and an interface developer. Actually, my nickname is Batata, which is potato in language. Not because my face, but because my hometown is Batatais, which in English means potato city. How cool is that, huh? So it seems a big city, but it's far smaller than Tatuapé here in São Paulo. And the city supermarket is shown bigger than the city name itself here, which is Norway Supermarket. So now the ice is broken. I currently work in a very cool company called High Platform here in São Paulo. It was formerly known as Direct Talk, and we had a fusion with a cool company from Blumenau in the Santa Catarina state in the last couple of months. So we do B2B solutions for customer support, and we had a lot of cool projects. And I'm currently working on one of our flagship products, that is the HiBot and HiChat, that is responsible for more than 1 million users per month. So let's keep this marketing crap. Before I begin, we will talk about present. So let's use your imagination here. Imagine that you are in your favorite city, maybe Batatais, I don't know. And you look ahead and you see a group of runners. So you look to those runners and you see that in the wrist of each one of them, you see a small device. So you know that device. They track activities, they track pace, and they track cardio. But you are used to that, okay? It's not a big deal for you at all. It's something common to the present days. So let's back to your city. Batatais is really this way. Small buildings and that stuff. You are back in your hometown and you see a shadow passing through you. Then you decide to look up. Well, a wild drone has appeared here. And it's okay, you know the police began using drones recently for monitoring people, and you feel safe, but you feel a little bit voided with your privacy. But that's okay, you are used to that as well. So finally, you intend to cross the street, but you are almost run over by a car. Of course, you didn't hear this car coming, because it's electric, it makes no sound at all. But what really impresses you is that this car is driven by a dog. Okay, I'm just kidding. It's driven by no one. So we can say all this eloquent described scenario here could be taken from an Asimov book. But it's our reality, how shocking it is. I want you guys think for a moment and see that is our current reality right now. It's present. So let's recover some things. These smartwatches do more than smartphones. They bring information to you. It's hard to create content for them, but that's not the purpose here. You must consume content on them. And consume content in a way you don't even have to activate them. They bring information to you passively, not actively. So we have passive information, we have health warnings, and we have content suggested for us, and we have a little bit of artificial intelligence for that content that is suggested or or tracking between locations and that stuff. So we also have drones. They use a lot of sensors. They are easy to drive. They use sensors to drive them. And the point here is they now have seemed at first sight like very complicated devices to handle and to drive. But today, the apps are so simple that you don't have to focus in control, but you can focus in your picture that you're taking right now, your content, or your footage that you're making for our videos. And it also benefits from artificial intelligence and with features that make them go home, or they warn you if you're entering in airplane area or airplane traffic, and etc. So we also have these autonomous cars. It's hard to see their future because they bring a very huge revolution here. And some countries require a human behind the wheel because it's an level of uncertainty very high. But in the current tests, most of 90% of the accidents caused by his cars were human failure. So undoubtedly, there are three revolutions here. And they have lots of sensors. They give you passive information as well, because if you are driving, you cannot be interrupted for ads or nonsense content. You must be clean. And you have full-time connection for that, because the sensors must have a connection with area, with maps, with satellites. And we have artificial intelligence. And we can see that artificial intelligence is a constant between these three revolutions. So the intention here was point to how lucky we are at the current moment. We are undoubtedly living a revolution. So it is intellectual, it is industrial. We don't know, only history will tell us, okay? But we can be living another revolution in another era as well. That may be user experience. So we just talked about present. Let's talk about past. Yeah, I hope it don't disappoint you guys, because I'm here to talk about chatbots and it's completely future. But I need to talk about past first. So if you check some points in our recent technology history, what they could be. So until the 70s, computers were huge. So there was no focus in being personal. And the keyboard came to make it easier to use. So this form factor, the keyboard, brought us a new standard in the completely history. For example, we have in the 50s, the UNIVAC. There is one of the first computers we have, and they have no screen at all, but we have the keyboard. And another thing that keyboards brought us was the semantic programming language. So you have this thing that you can write, do this, if it's false, do that, and look for that, interact for that, and give this result. So these semantic programming languages came with the keyboard. And in the 80s, we also have the screens with the keyboard, so it gave us more friendly applications to look at. And I call it the first user experience revolution. It changed, completely changed the way you use devices today. In the 80s, we got the mouse. And again, it was a revolution in the way we use our devices. I call it the second revolution. It lasts until today, it's true. And that allow us to use icons and clickable elements, and brought us the graphical user interface that we have today on desktops. And in 2007, we had another breaking through revolution. We had these only screen devices, the post-PC devices, as Steve Jobs called them, the smartphones and tablets. There was no button to be clicked, there was no pointers, and had no sense in this environment, this interaction with mouse and keyboard. Everything changed again. So we have these new screens and become this skeuomorphism. There was this thing about rounded corners that we say earlier, and it's not a problem anymore. And organically evolved to the flatter interfaces. And this evolution, the flatter interfaces, we don't know if it's a good idea until today, because we broke that similarity. And there are some specialists that disagree too. I'm sorry to be the devil advocate here about interfaces and buttons and corners, but research like that show us that 25% of uncertainty by users is big deal. So this is a topic for another talk, okay? So we have this third revolution here, screen-only devices. But now we are living another revolution in the user experience, the fourth. And the point here actually could maybe not only one. We can believe in two. That is artificial intelligence and virtual reality at the same time. That's amazing. So if you look again of the time span of each one of these revolutions, we can say that it's shrinking. And in a very short time, a new breaking through technology or revolution will come. So that brings us to the main topic here, chatbots, all right? When you go to build or a company wants a chatbot, they look for a specific type of professional to do that. They look for an experienced designer to craft a good chatbot experience. So these guys are really good, okay? They can deliver you a good experience. They are curious, they have user empathy, and they have also great taste for interfaces. This guy can, and they do, handle chatbots and design today. But are they the right person to do that? Maybe they are. But let's see a tiny video here, and please, you guys, raise your hands if there is no sound, okay? We really rely on sound here. This cool footage that I'm about to show you was taken for a great YouTube channel called The Nerd Writer. I highly recommend you guys. And the guy made an analysis of how complex Anthony Hopkins' acting is. And this is a footage taken from the recent series Westworld from HBO. And let's watch it. Tá sem som? Okay, no sound here. Can you guys help me? There is sound? I'll try to rewind here. No sound? Okay. Okay, there is no problem at all.
Okay, that pause is fully 7 seconds long, and it is amazing.
I'll try to rewind again.
We want to protect their legacy.
My legacy. Okay, that pause is fully 7 seconds long, and it is amazing. After reacting in disbelief at such a shameless euphemism, Hopkins, in silence, cycles through a few emotions. First, disbelief. Then, a consideration of the words for a split second at their face value. Maybe he should safeguard his legacy. Maybe he shouldn't be so ambitious at his age. Then, a smile. And this scene will feature several shades of smile. This one is kind as can be in the face of what he considers to be an attack, one that insults his intelligence. As he looks down and chuckles, the smile seems to acquire some suppressed anger. He can only bear to look at her in quick glances as he composes himself. Then he fires back an antagonistic remark.
You don't like this place very much, do you?
So first of all, I hope I gave you guys no spoiler of this series. And secondly, this is how complex language communication can be. It just lasts 7 seconds, and he gave us more than 8 different reactions in only seconds. So let's get back to this profile, this professional here. Building chatbots. With chatbots, we are dealing with a conversation. So we must know the effect that words can cause on each other. There's no screen to be beautiful here at all. And there is a new profile that knows exactly the effect we have on each other. A profile that's good enough to deal with perception and languages. That is the psychologist. Okay? So let's elaborate. Apple is starting to hire guys to improve Siri. And these guys are psychologists. Actually, this is news from the last week. Google has been doing it since 2014, adding psychologists as one of the minimum qualifications for their UX research team. Actually, also have a Brazilian guy in the team, which is André Souza, that is a cognitive psychologist in the Android team today. So, does it make sense to you guys? So, is another profile to replace, is a profile to help us, a new professional. We have this dilemma years ago when we have back-end professionals, back-ended guys to design interfaces. Some of them, I say a lot of them, did a great job, but you have another professional, another guy to help and evolve the market in that way, okay? So with chatbots, we can have another professional to do that. So there is this book that I read a couple months ago, where Daniel C. Evans said, for just as chemistry is the science behind good cooking, psychology is the science behind good design. So that's the first trend about chatbots, without being about chatbots itself, okay? So let's move on to the next topic, building. So again, when it comes to the chatbots, there is this desire to be the most intelligent as possible, but honestly, it's impossible to achieve that today. Not even Google or not even Amazon could do that the right way. They do using some tools, and sometimes it doesn't work. Let's put it on the table. Everyone wants this perfect conversational chatbot, the ones that understand complex sentences. So buy a ticket for Spider-Man for tomorrow night at IMAX and I pay with my Visa. So a ticket of which movie, when? There are a lot of days to decide. IMAX, that could be having 2 sessions of the same movie that day, that night. Which room do you want? So, and pay, how do you want to pay? With your credit card, with your debit card. So this scenario we are trying to written, this is the ideal example of a perfect conversational chatbot. But mostly companies and tools do something else to achieve that, okay? In a more interactive way, okay? There is something more procedural, like an FAQ or a phone menu or these kiosks that help you to create in a very procedural and linear way. I want to buy this movie. So the point is, we have the conversation. Buy a ticket, which movie? Spider-Man. When? Forget it, because it's so bad. And a lot of companies are bringing this idea to the chatbots. And what we have with that, we only have a very boring way to do the same thing we do on the internet. Why will I use a chatbot that is very procedural to do something that I do on the web in the same amount of time, okay? So there is no way to run out, okay? We use some tools that are interactive to achieve the result that we want. And neither sides are good or possible right now, so the challenge is to find this sweet spot between both. So we must combine a fluid conversation experience using some interactive tools to solve problems that is hard for and impossible for us right now, okay? So every tool uses components like this to achieve a great result, whether it's not possible to do only with a conversational interface. Here we show only visual chatbots, okay, but these components have its counterpart in another media. For example, if you are using Amazon Alexa, she will have a way to give you a card, but in the audio interface. Sometimes it's via a list that will skip you each 3x3 results, or it shows describe the location when you show the map card. But they have its counterpart. You always have a good practice way to solve these problems when it's not visually possible, okay? So building chatbot from scratch is really hard. And going this way won't give you any extra benefits. It would be hard. Benefits when I say it's like a more conversational approach or more intelligent way. So I strongly encourage you guys to use some helpers and tools. And of course, here we have a lot of developers, and you guys must look to these guys. And if you want to go on and create your own chatbot, that is good for a market. But I'm speaking in a business way here, okay? I know there are some of you guys that must have a deadline of months, and building from scratch is not the right way to do that, okay? So we have this, what we call tools, that are sometimes APIs, sometimes engines, sometimes really tools that help us to create our chatbot. They're not very user-friendly at a first sight, but they do help you to create a chatbot. For instance, we have Amazon Lex or IBM Watson that gives you the feeling of a sentence. So if you want to know if your customer is angry or if he's happy to take a decision and go to an article in our knowledge base, these guys can help. But they are really, you must write code, okay? But they are really great tools, and help you to skip a lot of amount of time, okay? And there is this research website called Key Reply that make this cool composition of companies that we see every tool and provider that help us create our chatbots via APIs and search engines. So in an inner circle here, we have these providers. which is a more assisted way to create chatbots with visual tools that we call providers. So they allow you to build your knowledge base through a very easy user interface, and you skip the work with the engine and with the intelligence, and you focus only in your content, okay? So Chatfuel, for instance, is an awesome provider that helps you to create your Facebook chatbot via what they call blocks. So we have an article here that is when you ask, hello, and he says, hello, I'm Spy, so what do you want? Call my services, go to my website, and you craft your conversation via these blocks. You want to upload an image, or you want to add a carousel, or whatever. So we also have you can test them at the same time, instantly, via Facebook. This is a Facebook screenshot. So from the developer side, you also have no deploy with these tools. We can exactly and precisely, in some minutes, are running a live Facebook chat bot, okay? So in my company today, we have the HiBot that uses the same approach here. And we use this, what we call blocks, to create an article. And you can add text or tools and carousels or make decisions and store variables to use later. And it's really cool for developers because it has no deploy at all. Here we can distribute not only via Facebook Messenger or your own custom chatbot end in your website, or you can distribute them via Slack or whatever you want, okay? So this guys helps a lot. And in the inner circles, you have your brand. If you have your brand with a chatbot, you can go and distribute through the most inner circle, through any channel you want, okay? So let's talk about applications. I'll not enter exactly on the subject of good practices here, but Google gives us a pretty good conversational guideline that I recommend all of you guys to look and have some insights of personality, how to guide your user through a good experience and not fall in dead ends and that stuff. To be honest, I'm not fond of this good practice right now because it's something new and conversation is really complicated, and it depends completely from the person you are talking to or from the position your company are. But I'll bring you one good practice here that I think is worth the time, okay? The only good practice that I'm bringing here is be honest with your user at all. A lot of people ask me in the last week if I succeeded anytime in deceive a user that uses one of our chatbots. And their user is that, but if I try to do that, the answer is no, okay? And the reason is simple. It's a lose-lose situation here if you go that way, okay? And if you fail in the first seconds of your usage. So it's like you have this web page and you fuck up with the first inches of your page and your user will go out in seconds, okay? So I'll make a very dumb chart here where you use a chatbot and you go to the fake human thing and you go honest with your user, okay? So it can end in two ways. You can solve your user problem or you cannot solve your user problem. If you have a bot that is passing by a human being and you solve the problem, the result is okay. He will not be surprised because he thought that it was a person, a human, and the problem was solved. Okay, no gains at all. If you go honest and your user knows that he's talking to a chatbot, he will be amazed. Oh my God, a chatbot just got my solved problem. That is good. That is amazing. And when you fake the humanity of your chatbot and your bot doesn't solve the problem, he will be frustrated, okay? Because this bot tried to deceive me. Damn you. This company was not honest to me, and your brand will be damaged by that, okay? This is a crappy chatbot, and it was not honest with me, and it didn't even solve my problem. And so you go honest, this is a chatbot, and you do not solve the user problem, it will be okay. because, okay, it's a chatbot, it's learning, and maybe some time, okay? So there is no point in fake the humanity of your chatbot here because you only have to lose, okay? So this is the first good and only good practice that I will bring here. Maybe sometime we can go to this column, but when it not calls fake humanity anymore, it goes lightly and easy like a human being. But I can assure you guys it will take some time, okay? So there was this time a little back ago, around 2010, that everyone wanted their very own apps. And we have the iPhone and the application store, and everyone wants their app. So no matter the market, if you have a drugstore, you want to have an app. You are a lawyer, you would want to have your app. There is no sense in that, okay? The apps have no function at all. It could easily be a website, but the app was a big deal. Oh, and I'll pay thousands of dollars to have my application. And there was a lot of garbage in the application store. And there was no benefit with your brand at all, because if your app sucks, it won't even go rated on the search engines, and it creates a lot of garbage. Don't go this way. And with chatbots, we have the same scenario, okay? I'll go on an Ouch tab here, okay? I'm about to launch a blog that will be called Welcome Chatbots, where I will analyze a lot of chatbots in the market. And it's about to go live in the next couple of months. So I could take good examples for that content, okay, that I will bring to you. There is this famous chocolate store franchise in Brazil that when I spoke to their chatbot, he only gave me two options. Just see the stores and call for a human. Wait a minute. You don't need a chatbot for that, okay? Because it's not cool. There is no differential. I can go to the website and get or even Google Maps, there's faster yet to get the closest store. And I'm sorry, it's in Portuguese, okay? I will handle that later. And there is no point, okay? And the second thing is to call the assistant that I don't even know that will be a human or not. I already lost the trust in the chatbot, but in this case it was not. And if I wanted to speak to a support person, I would go for their phone, okay? There's no point on that. On the other hand, we had this iFood chatbot that seemed at the first sight a little bit procedural and interactional. I asked for a pizza. He asked me a lot of stuff. It was seen only a very hard way to ask for a pizza. So he asked me for my credit card number. I gave, and he showed me 3 more cards to confirm my order. And at first sight, it was not a cool thing. But in the last interaction, the chatbot called my attention. And it was minutes later, the last one. So it said, hey, are you there? Your order is out. You will hear your doorbell in the next minutes. Wait, the phone service delivery doesn't do that for me, because when my pizza is out for order, the pizza service won't call me back and say, okay, go to your door, that our model guy will be ringing your doorbell in the next minutes. And this is a differential. This is cool, okay? It's in the very early stages here, but it shows a good example, a problem solved, okay? I don't know when my pizza, not even if my pizza is on the oven right now, who says that is out for delivery, okay? And this is very cool. So the keyword here is the bot must solve a problem, all right? A good starting point is create our chatbots in a way it solves one problem, okay? And you improve to solving more and more problems. It will organically get more intelligent over time. You don't have to go for intelligence. The most you will get is a very boring web chatbot, okay? So I brought this example because telephones just don't get immediately to the smartphones. It solves a problem, and it solved a problem, and it solved a problem. Here we have the ID of the caller number, the caller ID, and then we could use the internet on smartphones, and there were smartphones, really smart, because they solved the problem, not because they only wanted to be intelligent, okay? So this shows when to apply chatbots, but how about where, okay? There is this cool paper by Oxford University that points the most computerizable, as they call it, careers. So the most susceptible careers to be replaced by bots. And it show a lot of stuff. For instance, we discovered that web developers are more replaceable by robots than funeral service managers. How cool is that, huh? Take care, web developers, and I'm one of them, okay? But the last position tells a lot. In the last position, we had telemarketers here. So telemarketing is the most qualified career to be replaced by a chatbot. Currently, it's a bad marketing with a low level of satisfaction. And we also must, that example and that research just show us that we must always remember to solve a problem, okay? So there is as I said, there is a very good area here. We always go to telemarketing when it had a problem to be solved. And so that's because these guys are the most susceptible to be replaced by chatbots. And it's happening right now, okay? The companies, the sector that have the highest amount of chatbots today is the telemarketing. So let's move on. Unfortunately, today, chatbots have a lot to prove. So they are not centered, and you can distribute them to a lot of channels, and that's not all good, okay? Why? Because the experience will change over time. So let's imagine that you have your brand in a Facebook Messenger. So it gives your brand, it has your brand, and you decide to give your bot a very exquisite personality, okay? So that's your brand. You treat it the way you want, this very exquisite personality says a lot, and as I said, it has a personality. And yo, my bro, do you want to buy some good stuff? So that's okay. But when you distribute, let's say via Alexa, it's a problem, okay? Because these personal assistants have their own personality, and if you integrate them, you cannot bring your chatbot language. For example, hi sir, how can I help you? Is a formal way, okay? So I want to buy good stuff from your bot. And yo, man, it can turn everything in a schizophrenic experience because it was very formal in the first interaction. It got crazy. It was a gangster. And there is this caveat to avoid, okay? And the point is, what brought us here, we must remember, is that all of this gives us a vision of past and present, so we can direct to the future. So Bernardo Chartres, I don't know how to spell its name, said that we are here today because we were standing on the shoulder of giants. What does it mean? We always use the past technologies and revolutions and learnings to be in the present, and we must use the present to skip to another one. Okay, we must see what comes next. And to remember, chatbots should be sexy, and they should respect the channel you distribute them. Okay, they must be really conversational, but when it's not 100% possible, let's use the interactive way. Okay, and let's not forget that they must solve a problem. Okay, chatbots must solve a problem. Intelligence will come. Another point here is customer support is a certain shot for the future. And to finish, that's it, my friend. Let's go next for the next revolution. And we finish here a little bit with a shorter time than expected. And thank you, guys. If anyone has some question, I hope you have time, or I'll be outside. And let's wait for the next revolution. Thank you very much. So I don't know where's Fabio, and I don't know if any questions will be possible, but that's it.